At this time, I'd like to call to order the December 11th, 2014 meeting of the Sac Metro Fire District's Board of Directors. And with that, I would like to ask Director Wood if he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14, replayed on Saturday, December 13th, 2014 at 1 p.m. and Monday, December 15th, 2014 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14 webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district's website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Opportunities for public discussion of matters of public interest within the jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda, are provided. Do we have no speakers for this evening?
No speakers this evening.
Thank you. Moving then to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have one question.
We do have a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask Matt a question about the IT equipment. I noticed that we did not move for the warranty portion. Is that correct?
No, we did move for the warranty portion. We have, Section C was the Meraki equipment with a 1-year warranty, and Section D, which we're going with, is the Meraki equipment for a 5-year warranty. Since we have a 5-year lease, it's best that we have a 5-year warranty on the equipment.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I just wasn't quite sure about that.
No problem.
Good enough, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very good.
With that, are there any further questions or discussion? We have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood?
Aye.
Scheidegger?
Aye.
Gould?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
And Rosali?
Aye.
Motion passes.
At this juncture, we're going to make a change in the agenda and move into closed session. So we will close this portion of the meeting and move into closed session. Thank you. Open session. Would legal counsel report out on the closed session?
Okay, this is the closed session report pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A. The matters of Elizabeth Arianes, I'm sorry, and the SMFD workers' comp claim, the Michael Lewis claim, the Savand Nance claim, and the John Chambliss claim were considered by the board. By a unanimous vote, the Arianes claim was approved for settlement authority. In the Lewis claim, unanimous authority was given to resolve all outstanding claims. On the Nance claim, with Director Scheidegger abstaining, a unanimous approval was given to extend settlement authority. And on the Chambliss claim, with Director Gould abstaining, unanimous authority was given to extend settlement authority. Out of breath from running back here from the bathroom. Catch my breath.
Thank you, Counsel. And I want you to know that the question about whether or not we were being billed during the time that you were out.
Not at all. Now, I have a second report from the, now my voice is coming back, thank you. I have a second report from the closed session, and that is there was a discussion with the labor negotiator pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6. No action was taken. And the final matter in closed session was a personnel matter involving fire chief employment, and no action was taken in closed session. And that
Thank you,
concludes the
Counsel.
report.
Thank you. Moving then to the action items, I would like to move item 8 up to become item 1, and then in something that's out of normal protocol, I am moving that we vote to approve the chief's contract for this year. And do I have a second?
Second the motion, Mr. President.
Yes, I'll just give some introductory remarks. As everyone will recall, back on September 6th of 2014 of this year, the board unanimously appointed Chief Wells as the fire chief. However, at that point, there had been no written contract in place. So effective with Chief Wells' assumption of his job duties on October 13 of 2014, negotiations began between the district negotiator, Chief Counsel Lavra, and Chief Wells, and it resulted in the final proposed agreement that is before the board with the recommendation for approval.
Thank you, Counsel. So we have a motion and a second. With that, would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood? Aye. Scheidegger?
Aye.
Gould?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
And Orzali?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, Chief. Moving then to what is now item 2, intergovernmental transfer of managed care. Chief Clough?
Good evening, Board of Directors, Mr. President, and Chief Wells. As you're aware, Metro Fire has participated in the Ground Emergency Medical Transport Program, which draws down federal supplemental reimbursement for the assessment and transportation of Medi-Cal fee-for-service beneficiaries. The beneficiaries that are covered under GEMT are fee-for-service. They amount to what is a very small percentage of the Medi-Cal beneficiaries in the state of California. The vast majority have been transferred into what's known as managed care programs. Because of the way managed care is taken care of, CPEs are not allowed to be used to draw down federal supplemental reimbursement for fee-for-service. However, intergovernmental transfers are a mechanism for drawing down those type of revenues. Intergovernmental transfers, also IGTs, require agreements between the provider, which is us, the plan, which is the HMO, and the state of California. Metro will be required to enter into those agreements with the plans as well as the state. Each of these agreements defines the amounts and the timelines for how the transfers take place. The process for an IGT is that Metro will transfer 50% of the non-federal share for the cost of providing the service to the state, along with a 20% participation fee to the state. The state will then draw down from the federal government the 50% match. That 50% match is then transferred to the managed care plans, who will then distribute that money back to Metro Fire as a base rate increase for the assessment and transport of managed care Medi-Cal beneficiaries. The plans will take 2% off of the top for their fee for processing that service. Combined, and excuse me, I'm getting through a cold here, combined with the 3 managed care plans that we currently work with, it will require us to transfer a sum of $10,439,404 to the state. This includes the 20% fee that the state would collect. The state will then do the drawdown for the federal government, and the state will transfer a sum of $17,039,559 to the managed care plans. The managed care plans will subtract their 2%, and they will distribute that money back to us. The net revenue increase from this is $6,600,155 of new revenue to the district. The program that we're participating in has been in effect since 2008. It encompasses all of the counties in the state of California. Sacramento County actually is participating in the same exact rate range IGT that we're participating in. Statewide, they distribute nearly $450 million annually. The authority for this, because it is kind of interesting and confusing to people that we're transferring money back and forth. This is actually the most common method that money transfers between local government, state government, and the federal government. The authority for this is that Metro Fire is a recognized unit of government under federal regulation CFR 433.5. As a unit of government, we're allowed to participate and transfer funds pursuant to Welfare and Institutions Code 14164, and the state is then authorized to accept those funds on our behalf pursuant to Welfare and Institutions Code 14301.4. Once the state has those funds, they're mandated under the Social Security Act Title 19 under the Medical Assistance Program to transfer those funds to the feds and receive that money back. The managed care providers, there's 3 that we work with. Molina, Blue Cross, and HealthNet are all under contract with the state of California pursuant to Welfare and Institutions Code 14087.3, which authorizes them to not only accept the money, but to pass it on to us as a base rate enhancement. All of the applied taxes are paid by the plans, and they conform to tax code 12201 and 6175. These are done every day throughout the state. It's a normal way of transferring funds. Staff recommends that the board accept and approve and give direction to participate and sign the contracts for the program. I'm available for any questions.
Yeah, Scott, does that bring us up to date on this then?
Up to date as far as,
Past revenues that were due, or?
no, none of this, well, I don't want to say it's retroactive. This is a new program, it's not retroactive, but this captures the calendar year, not fiscal year, January 1st, 2013 through December 31st of 2013.
Oh, wow.
The next rate range year actually started in January of 2014, and next year we will be able to do the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Please, Director.
Chief Clough, thank you very much for that detail on how this has been ongoing for several years and that we're just now being invited to participate. The question I have for you is there regulation that limits the managed care carve-out? You know, right now it's at 2%, but is there regulation or do we have some protection in the sense of the word that moving into the next fiscal year or beyond, that rate doesn't double or triple and they continue to carve away at just passing money through the process and carving out 2% to pass it through? Or can we just go directly to the state if that number continues to increase? Do you have any sense of that?
Yep, great question. So the answer is no, we do not have any protection from the standpoint that these are voluntary programs.
Okay.
So when a Medi-Cal beneficiary moves from a fee-for-service status to a managed care status, essentially what the state is doing is they're transferring that obligation to a managed care provider. They're paying a flat rate, and they essentially wash their hands of any further financial responsibility to that patient. The state cannot pass any funds directly to us because then it would be considered paying additional funds to a beneficiary that's been transferred to a managed care program. So the funds will always travel through the managed care provider. However, the managed care provider set the rates. Theoretically, they could come back and say it's 5% or 10%. Every year it's voluntary. You do not have to participate in the program. However, the plans are encouraged to participate in this by the feds as well as the state because it's an enhancement to the Medicaid program and they want those services transferred to the beneficiaries. So the managed care providers, they receive their incentive from getting more people into their plans and providing services that don't cost them additional dollars. Could it go up? It absolutely could go up. However, the fee has not changed since 2008, since
okay.
it came into place.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much for that.
Please.
Chief Clough, thank you for your presentation and more importantly, for your fine work in this program. I just want to make sure, as I understand it, then we're going to use 10 million in reserves to participate and be refunded. And that's supposed to come back which will result in a net of over 6 million gain to us. And that reimbursement should occur within 90 days. Did I read that correctly somewhere?
Yeah, so the way the program functions, once the state receives our money, they're required to do the transfer, the drawdown on the transfer within 90 days. Once the plans receive the money, they're required to do the transfer back to us within 30 days. The total amount of time is a 120-day window.
Okay.
However, since 2008, the longest that the transactions have taken has been 7 weeks from the time the money has been transferred. So they do have the potential of being out there for 120 days. They typically are only out there for less than 2 months.
Another nice reason to have reserves. Thank you.
You know, the only other comment, and maybe Ken, you could elaborate a little bit on the portion of this, it's not really coming out of reserves per se.
That's correct, Chief. If the district were to get to the end of the year and have spent more money than it received back, then that would be a use of reserves. But in this case, we're actually generating more cost recovery through this program, so we're adding to our reserves at the end of the day and not using reserves, so to speak. But we do have to make this additional payment. And the way you need to think about this, I think, is not really in terms of additional revenue, but additional cost recovery, because that's what's actually happening. It took me a while to wrap my head around the whole process, but what we're doing is we're getting reimbursed for the services that are being provided to the HMOs, but the money is actually coming from the federal government. So through the state. So the state, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but the state is paying the HMOs basically for the transport services that Metro Fire is delivering. At, let's say, they're going to pay us at 100%. So the state's going to draw down 50% of that from the federal government. We're giving them the other 50%. Then the state makes the payment to the HMOs, who turn around and makes the payment back to us. So what we're doing is we're picking up that additional cost recovery piece. At no time are we going to actually, by the time we get to the end of the year, we will not have spent more money than we received back. So in that sense, we're not using reserves in this case. We'll actually be adding additional cost recovery, which will help build our reserve beyond what was originally budgeted for the year.
Just a point of clarification. To Director Scheidegger's point about the need for reserves, were we not in a fiscally solvent circumstance that affords us the luxury of being able to do this? Is there a circumstance where a district whose resources were low, this would represent a threat?
Well, I think you would have to have the ability to make the payment, the initial payment. So if you couldn't demonstrate that this was not going to be adding to your balance, in our case, the county would not let us do it. That's why you have the next action item that follows this one, is to make the budget amendment so the county will allow us to make the payment. But you would need to have the resources to do that.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. So, thank you. So, further discussion?
Chief Clough, on this issue specifically, these are individuals who in the past were on Medi-Cal?
They're still on Medi-Cal. They're still considered a Medi-Cal beneficiary.
Okay,
Medi-Cal has two distinct programs.
Okay.
Fee-for-service, which means that you're a Medi-Cal beneficiary that can seek medical attention from any provider that accepts Medi-Cal payment. Medi-Cal managed care is still a Medi-Cal beneficiary. You still have to meet the same requirements to be a Medi-Cal beneficiary. However, they enroll you into a managed care plan. In Sacramento, we have Kaiser, Molina, Blue Cross, and HealthNet. Of the four, three of them participate in the IGT. So they're still Medi-Cal beneficiaries, but rolled into a managed care plan.
All right. And the next question is, how many patients, do you have a general idea of how many patients do we, on an annual basis, transport that are Medi-Cal beneficiaries?
On a general,
Right.
I would say, since I looked at it before the board meeting, we do roughly 9,880 last fiscal year.
So 10 grand worth of our 80,000 transports roughly are Medi-Cal beneficiaries.
Medi-Cal managed care
Managed care
beneficiaries.
beneficiaries.
And then there's an additional about 1,200 that are still fee-for-service.
Okay.
So over 10,000.
Okay. And is it likely that those remaining 1,200 that are fee-for-service Medi-Cal beneficiaries will one day transfer into the Medicare or to the managed care group?
So the state of California policy is to transfer as many beneficiaries as possible into managed care. However, as beneficiaries enroll into the program, they first enroll into fee-for-service, and then if they have a plan that matches their needs and their geographic location, then they can be enrolled. From the state's perspective for Sacramento County, they don't anticipate that fee-for-service would probably ever drop below 10 to 11%. Their
Okay.
goal is to try and get 10%.
Okay, all right. I was just trying to think down the road, are we going to capture that other 1,200 that ultimately move out of fee-for-service all to managed care, which means that that recapture or that enhanced capture of services already rendered would just continue to go up?
Yeah, so you will always still have a GEMT component for the fee-for-service, and you'll always have an IGT
Okay.
component.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
I make a recommendation that we adopt staff's suggestion to us.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood? Scheidegger? Gould?
An aye with a huge thank you.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones? Barnes?
Aye.
And Roselli.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving then to item that's now 3, budget amendment to participate in the intergovernmental transfer. Again with Chief Clough.
Thank you. So obviously, since the first action item passed, then we have a need for the second. So this will be fairly quick, and I'll turn it over to Ken. In order for us to transfer the funds, the state requires that we have a line item or an item in the budget that identifies that we have allocated money to be used for this transfer. Because this program was still an unknown, it was 4 years in the making. We were just accepted into it within the last 6 weeks. There wasn't a line item in our currently accepted budget, so we need to do a budget amendment in order to account for those monies so that the county can withdraw the $10 million for the transfer. The staff's recommendation is that you pass the resolution, and if you have any questions, in reality, Ken will answer them.
I make a motion, we accept.
I have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood? Scheidegger? Gould?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones? Barnes?
Aye.
And Roselli.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Director Roselli, can I interject just real quick while they're still standing? This is one of those issues that Chief Clough has literally generated the state expertise on this, and our regional partners, which he has not mentioned, the city of Sacramento and Consumnes, have also been able to locally draw off of the expertise of Chief Clough, and everybody else up and down the state of California has had the opportunity. I just publicly want to state the expertise that you heard in front of you this evening from Chief Clough, and that's why I didn't say anything, is that is statewide and nationally renowned expertise that is driving this industry. And so thank you, Chief Clough, for that, and for Ken to help us make sense of it all. So thank you.
Looking now at item that's now 4, Memorandum of Understanding with Sacramento Fire Department for 2013 State Homeland Security Grant Program, rigid inflatable boats with Larry Davis.
Thank you, Directors. Chief Wells, Larry Davis, Chief Development Officer. This is the first of 3 items that are all interrelated, and they are all regarding the same project. And the project is a 5-boat rigid inflatable boats, rescue boats that are interoperable and be used throughout the region. Participating in that are the Cosumnes Fire Department, Sacramento City Fire Department, Folsom Fire Department, and Metro Fire. So, and this first item is a memorandum of understanding with the Sacramento City Fire Department. We currently have a MOU with Folsom Fire Department. This will now catch up the City of Sacramento in the same project. The source of the funds is, for this first piece, is 2013 State Homeland Security Grant funds awarded through the County Office of Emergency Services and Department of Homeland Security at the federal level. And what this MOU will do will, pull everything together and identify and make very clear all the requirements of the party. And as the lead in this project and the grant and the program, we are requesting this from you at this point.
Mr. Chairman, if it pleases the group, I would move move approval of the execution of an MOU with the Sacramento Fire Department for the purposes of carrying out the 2013 State Homeland Security Grant Subaward.
And I'd like to second. Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood? Aye. Scheidegger?
Aye.
Gould?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on to the next item, the 2014 State Homeland Security Grant Program for Rigid Inflatable Boats, Technical EMTs with Larry Davis.
Okay. Directors, this is the second part of this. The first 3 boats were funded under the 2013 award. The second 2 boats in the 5-boat program are funded under the 2014 award. This is to accept the grant for the 2014 award for this program. In addition to that, we are receiving funding for 5 sets of body armor for our Thames Medics program. That's also a regional project, and also for training to support the Thames program.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of staff's recommendation and adopt the attached resolution.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk?
Aye.
Wood?
Aye.
Scheidegger?
Aye.
Gould?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving into item 6, bid awards for rigid inflatable boats with Larry Davis.
Thank you. This final request is for approval to purchase the final 2 boats in this project. All the boats were identified and procured under a RFP, and we purchased the first 3 set of boats. The vendor held good to the price for the first 3 boats for the second 2 boats. So we're going to benefit from that. And this is to award the bid, and the purchase of the final 2 boats. And I just need to, clarify here too that in our process, we're going to need to, through the grant entities, we're going to need to do it's called an aviation and watercraft request approval, and there's a sole source component approval that will need to go with this too. So there's some other technical documents that are going to need to be completed, in order to completely execute this. But at this point, I'm asking for approval to execute the purchase.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Scheidegger. Gould.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
And Larry, just for the last time in my role as president of the board, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for the 4 millionth time. So, moving then to item 7, election of board officers. Recommendation, nominate and elect members of the board to serve as president, vice president, and secretary for one-year terms to commence 1 January 2015.
Mr. Chairman, it would be my pleasure to recognize the fine service that you have provided this board over the last year. And I would like to put forth the names of our current Vice President, Director Gould, to take over as chair. And with Mr. Pearson's departure from the board, that leaves a void at secretary. And I would like to, well, we have a void at secretary and vice president now. And so I would like to move that we install Director Scheidegger as the vice president and Director Wood as the secretary.
And Mr. Chair, I would like to second Director Kelly's nominations.
We'll take them one at a time.
And we will take them one at a time with regard to that. So with regard to the position of president, would the clerk please call the roll?
Oh, each vote separate.
Director Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Gould.
I'll humbly abstain.
Kelly.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Then with regard to the position of vice president,
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we install Director Scheidegger as the vice president of this board.
And Mr. Chair, I'd like to second Director Kelly's nomination for vice chair.
I have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Wood. Scheidegger.
With gratitude and humility, aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And for the position of secretary,
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we install Director Woods as the secretary of this board.
And Mr. Chair, I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Director Monk.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Scheidegger.
Aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
And Rosali.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And to each of those individuals, congratulations on this opportunity. This has been a great learning experience for me, and I look forward to working with each of you. The last item on the action items is the nomination of Sacramento's LAFCO Specialty District Advisor to the Advisory Committee. And so it's now, Melissa, I see your name listed here.
Yes, good evening, directors. Before you this evening, you have the opportunity to nominate one of the members to serve on the Office B of the Advisory Committee for the Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission. This is a 2-year term, and it's without compensation. The term ends December 31st of 2016. Of the nominations, there will be a selection committee from LAFCO to decide who will seat in the 7 open positions. It should be noted that Director Monk currently serves on an advisory committee in Office A, and Director Jones is currently an Office C commissioner. So this evening, you have before you the opportunity to consider a board member nomination for Office B on the Special District Advisory Committee, if you so wish.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to know if there is anybody that has a burning desire to sit on Office B of this organization, the Sacramento Local Area Formation, or the SDAC.
I have no burning desire.
To this, does anybody know?
Yes, if I may,
Yeah, please.
this
Chair.
nomination,
Chair of Commission.
SDAC, Special District Advisory Committee to Sacramento Area LAFCO, Sacramento County LAFCO. Thank you. This nomination procedure is sent out to each and every special district in Sacramento County. It's a cursory situation here because we already have 2 members on. I serve the 2 special district commissioners elected by all the other special districts in Sacramento County, as well as the alternate special district commissioner to Sacramento County LAFCO, serve on this committee. It was instigated approximately 2006, 2007, that the special districts in the county organized to meet on a regular basis to help share input and concerns and ideas about actions that may or may not come before Sacramento County LAFCO impacts. As it is, Metro is rich in representation on this. The usual selection process is to maintain a balance amongst all types of special districts. And to be quite honest, we're very heavy on the fire districts. That would include water, cemetery, parks and rec, reclamation districts. There still might be some vacancies, but quite frankly, it might be a little bit of overkill to have additional fire districts represented. Between Mr. Monk and myself and other special district fire districts who also serve from time to time on this committee, it might be a bit redundant. Again, if someone has a burning interest, we can nominate someone, but there would be other priorities before choosing another fire district representative.
So at that time, is there someone who wishes to volunteer or express an interest in this? Seeing none, then,
Mr. Chairman, I say we move the agenda. Takes no action, right? Oh, it does take action. No.
You do not need to take action on this.
Right.
Yeah.
So move the agenda's next item, right?
okay. So moving then to the President's report, and I am remiss in not having done this at the opening of the board, but I do want to take just a moment to welcome Director Barnes to the board. I had the opportunity to meet with Director Barnes and had a great discussion with him about his vision and some of the challenges that are upcoming to Metro Fire. And I can say that I absolutely look forward to working with you. I think this is going to be a great experience.
Thank you, sir. As we met earlier today, we talked about a lot of things, and I do look forward to working with the board, Chief Wells, and the brave men and women of 522. So again, I humbly serve on this board, and I thank you for everything.
Absolutely. And I also want to take just a moment to thank Melissa for her efforts. And as you may have noticed, there are some flowers on the podium there as a Christmas gift for you. And the board has an additional gift that I'll be giving you right after the meeting. But all of that is by way of saying thank you for everything that you do, because you do a fantastic job, and we are honored to work with you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to work with all of you. It's been a great experience, and I look forward to many years to come.
Moving then to the Chief's report, Chief Wells.
Well, good evening again, directors. Actually, it's going to be somewhat of a lengthy report. I'll try to bang through it here as we only had one meeting this month. But I would like to say it's a great honor to announce that we have a regional P25 working group. It's a radio team putting together this P25 compliance. And that team consists of one of our captains, Captain Tyler Wagaman, Chuck Schuler from the the comm center, Mike Dumford, who is a captain with his Sacramento City Fire, Phil, I'm going to butcher the name here, Calinor from Folsom, and Paul Zender from Consumnes. They're going to be receiving the Communications Team of the Year Award on December 11th, which is tonight, from the Northern Chapter of the Association of Public Safety Communications. Once again, it's just one of those other valuable assets that we have in this community. We have these people that are extremely knowledgeable about the communications, and this is a compliance issue moving forward as the radio communication system integrates to this P25 system, and they literally go up and down the state and can do different working groups that are, demonstrated that in this region we are hitting on an exceptional level, I guess is the way to say it. And Tyler Wagman, if you don't know him well, does everything very well and overcommits himself, and he never underdelivers, which is interesting. Very high valuable resource to us, so congratulations to that group. Let's see here. Meetings that I've attended, it's been fairly busy. We had the Sacramento Metro Chamber State of the County Luncheon. That was back on the 14th of November. We had the quarterly Urban Area Working Group meeting that I attended on the 20th of November. Myself and Ken Campo met with Sacramento City Manager John Shirey and the Fire Chief Walter White as a meet and greet initially, and also to discuss our intentions on the Natomas area and moving forward on that. I'd like to also, just at this time, take the opportunity to say that we did submit the MSR as that process last Friday to LAFCO, as we've been talking about, and they have sent that out now. It's an updated MSR in our interest of going in our sphere of influence to Natomas. So it's gone out to the public comment section for 30 days. And it's literally very fresh. It just got sent to them on Friday, last Friday. We continue to meet and confer with Local 522. We had our latest meeting on that on the 2nd of December. We had a meeting with HDL regarding our property tax report on the 2nd of December as well. Let's see, we actually, I jumped a little bit ahead. We actually submitted after on our MSR, after our meeting with Peter Brundage, who actually is the executive director of LAFCO, and Don Lockwood, and that, Lockhart, excuse me, yes, Don Lockhart. And that was, we met with the city first, told them what our intention was, and then we met with LAFCO proper and submitted our application later that afternoon, answering any further questions that they had. Let's see, the single role graduation happened, we had 10 recruits, 5 EMTs and 5 paramedics that graduated on the 4th of December. That was a good ceremony as always. On the 5th of December, there was the Administrative Fire Services Section branch of Cal Chiefs. They met here in our meeting across our room across the hall. It's always a well-attended. They're basically the professional support personnel for the area or the California Fire Chiefs. So essentially, we all know they actually run the fire departments typically. And of course, our staff was well represented there with Jill Guzman and others. We had the swearing-in ceremony for directors Kelly, Monk, and Barnes, which was on the 5th. That was last Friday. And then last Monday, I attended the Firefighters Pacific Burn Institute night at the Kings game, and an interesting, very proud to be part of that, to watch Rescue 21's crew that actually assisted. There's only so much room on the catwalk and only one person rappels out, but they came down from the ceiling, a Sacramento City firefighter. Our crews and Consumnes helped bolt together the rappelling systems as he was lowered to the floor with the game ball that was handed over to a young lady and then given as the game ball for the event. Our people always represent us very well, and I'm very proud of that technical expertise that you can do that. I attended the local 522 holiday open house on Monday night, I believe. And then yesterday was the the Comm Center Holiday Open House. Let's see, tomorrow night, we're excited to have the Academy class for firefighters. We're going to have 7 firefighter paramedics at 6 p.m. at the Citrus Heights Community Center, and that's Academy class 14-2. And then later on in this month, on the 18th, is the Sacramento County Fire Chiefs Association meeting. Let's see, we have a new hire, which was effective on December 3rd, is a new office technician named Courtney Gibbs, and she's been assigned to the Community Risk Reduction Division. Welcome to her. And we've had retirements. Of course, we have a tremendous amount of institutional experience leaving the building. We've hired over 350 people in the last 3.5 years. This year will be no exception. A lot of thanks and for their many years of service go to firefighter Matt Raymond of 24 years, firefighter Troy Solorzano, 22 years of service, Captain Scott Parsons, 30 years of service, engineer Scott Cardiff, 25 years of service, and our logistics technician Tim Cronin of 12 years of service. We have a recruitment going on internally for firefighter paramedic, and that's going on for transition from the single role to the firefighter position. And it was a big honor for us yesterday. Chief Taylor has really reinvested back into our years of service, thanking of our men and women that have worked out there in different periods of time. And we were honored to go out and talk to Engineer Bob Judge at Station 65 yesterday, a bunch of his crew, of course, and the battalion chiefs and assistant chiefs and myself. We got out there to celebrate 40 years of service for Engineer Bob Judge. And we gave him a little bit of ribbing about that, but I would like to say that 40 years in this business is a long time, and it isn't like he's been at a slow station hiding out somewhere. He's always worked on busy companies in the Corps in a busy metropolitan area. So 40 years for Engineer Bob Judge, very, very noble accomplishment for him, and he's still going. I mean, he's very productive and very mentoring the young people that we're hiring. Promotions, as you know, with all these retirements, we have lots of promotions. Effective the 2nd of December, Captain Robert Radigan, Captain Mike Lanier, Captain Tim Bakken, and Captain Mike Schagenbach. Effective the 14th of December will be Captain Aaron Phillips. And then, of course, we just had a brand new engineers test, and we're taking most all of them all at once because of the massive exodus of our ranks. So on the 14th, we'll also be promoting Jim Ellis, Chris Manos, Holly Wagner, Treffin Loris, Vince Purcell, James Flint, Jordan Oakes, Drew McDonald, Nick Mack, Ryan Bask, Jeremy Crawford, Stephen Caldwell, Matthew Rust, and Stephen Saputa to the rank of engineer. So a lot of people moving up in our agency. It's amazing to see the amount of transition going on right now. Really unprecedented, and it will slow down at some point, but it's not happening anytime soon. And last, I would just like to say, since this is our last board meeting, happy holidays to everyone. And obviously be safe, and to the men and women of Metro Fire, thank you for your service on the holidays. You're away from your families, so you can protect everybody else's. And so I really sincerely appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. General Counsel?
Yes, I actually have 2 brief comments. After running out of breath in my grueling 25-yard dash, I think it advisable that I engage in a fitness program pretty soon. And had I actually been in physical distress, I think I was in a very safe place to be. So, thank you.
Only if we found you.
Thank you. Then firefighters local 522. Oh, excuse me.
We didn't do the ops report.
Let's do the ops report.
Yeah, excuse me, we got it.
President Orzali, Directors, Chief Wells, IARC Bridge Assistant Chief Phase Shift Operations, here for your ops report. Since November 13th, Metro Fire's had a total of 6,632 calls for service, of which 21 were structure fires and 1 wildland fire. On the EMS front, we had a total dispatch of 5,371 calls, of which we transported 75% of those. AMR, of course, was with us and assisted with 4 dispatches and 3 transports. And switching gears, we had recently in the news, you've probably heard an unfortunate event that's happened in Citrus Heights on December the 5th, where a firefighter falsely representing our fire district and also the Sacramento City Fire District was knocking on doors in the Sunrise Vista Mobile Home Park, identifying himself as a firefighter in a manner of which trying to check smoke detectors and smoke alarms. Unfortunately, at which point when he was left alone, he would go into the bathroom facilities and was at that point taking narcotics or any kind of drugs, prescription drugs that belonged to the homeowners. What's valuable lesson about this is, wanted to bring this to your attention, is the fact that our battalion chief, Aaron Webster, once was notified of this event, quickly wanted to find out, first of all, is this a new program? Is Metro Fire or anybody doing any kind of inspections at homes? Obviously, not knowing at this point, nobody knew about anything that drugs were being stolen. All they knew about at this point was there was somebody identifying himself as a firefighter going in offering to check smoke detectors. So he thought that was odd, at which point, once he verified that this was not the case, he thought, well, we better make sure that we get this out to the press right away, because this smells obviously something sounds very foul here. So my hat's off to him. I wanted to recognize Chief Webster for that. And then again, it quickly gets to our PIO and Michelle, at which point arranged for a press conference the next morning, at which this was made public on the media. And at that point is when the phone calls started coming in from the people at the residence in that mobile home park. Because all of a sudden, some of them realized, wait a minute, somebody did that to me, but they didn't really think about going to check the medicine cabinet. So at which point, there were more victims notified at that point. So just wanted to recognize our PIO, Battalion Chief Aaron Webster. This was a sad event, but I'm glad we got the notice out right away. Also make note of our CERT. Our CERT's been on standby since this morning. We've had, I think we have 6 members, and correct me if I'm wrong, 6? 6 members on shift. Yeah. On shift? Okay, so about 2 crews of 2 out of Station 21 and 2 out of 68 that have been on standby for this, for the big storm event of 2014, which fortunately didn't pan out the way that the weather prediction had originally occurred. So we were instrumental in being very proactive, just like a lot of the other county agencies. We were proactive with SMUD and their EOC. One of our battalion chiefs was down there FaceTime with those folks, making sure everything was set up properly in case they needed our assistance to triage calls. And at which point we downsized the event this afternoon once the wind event turned down to a wind advisory. So the rain's still here. There could be some localized flooding in the future, but the key to note there was we're very proactive and very prepared for helping our citizens. So any questions I can answer?
Was there any further action on this with regard to this individual? And was he claiming that he was from Metro Fire?
No, the best I understood, he was not claiming to be from Metro Fire. He just said he was a firefighter.
I see.
Which was sad, but yeah, he is, at this point, I'm not sure the legal terms, but he is being detained in custody. I don't want to misspeak on that behalf, though.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Moving now to to Local 522.
Good evening, President Orzali, Board of Directors, Chief Wells, and staff. If I can make comment on the firefighter that was going in the people's house, I responded out there and I talked to the detectives who submitted a search warrant for his residence. He lived in Roseville. He was a firefighter for a neighboring agency, a 3-year person of their agency. And like Chief Bridget said, he was in there just looking for drugs because I obviously had an issue to deal with.
You said he was, he isn't now.
Well, I mean, he's on administrative leave, obviously.
Okay.
pending all the investigation and everything. I'd like to also congratulate the 10 single-role paramedics and EMTs and the graduation of 7 firefighters. And thanks, Chief Wells, for naming all the names of the recent promotions, so I don't have to do that. Thank you. I want to thank those that were able to attend the open house. It was really nice. I wasn't able to go both days, but I was there last night. And it was nice to see some of the board of directors and some of the past senior staff were there. I understand Chief Wells was there on Tuesday night. So thank you for attending. I appreciate that. You guys should, if you get a chance and you're in the neighborhood, you go by. It really turned out nice. It's nice to have a facility that now we can have our meetings and not have to go somewhere else. Update on the FLSA. I dropped off some of the last waivers today. I know we're working with finance to go through and compile a list of all the members that have turned in waivers so that we can make sure that the ones that haven't been notified, we re-notify and see if they can't get their waivers in, so we can finish that and finalize it. If you know of anybody that hasn't received the paperwork or the waiver, have them either contact the Union Hall and talk to Gabby or Ty or Sean Condit or myself, and we'll try to make sure they get the paperwork out as soon as possible. I'd like to thank Mike McGoldrick. He wasn't reelected for this next term of 2 years, for being there and for dedicating the time it takes to move the things forward with the district and the local. Also, in closing, I would like to offer to the board of directors, I understand that some are still kind of upset with what has occurred with the meet and confer process and the budget. I would like to move the district forward as well as the union and the board and try to gain the trust that we all once had. I think it's really important for us to move into the future, and I would really like to meet with all of you. We're going to start reaching out to you guys again and start working on some of the issues you may or may not have. If you have any questions, please, I'm ready to take some. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Moving then to item 5, committee and delegates reports, beginning with the executive committee. Executive committee has not met recently, and there is presently no scheduled meeting for the executive committee. Moving then to B, Communication Center JPA with Chief Holbrook.
President Orzali, members of the board, Chris Holbrook, Deputy Chief for Metro Fire. We did meet this week for the Communication Center JPA. Primary on the agenda was the audit report for the 12-13 fiscal year. That report came back with a clean finding, I'm very happy to announce. In acknowledgement for the finance staff over at the Communication Center JPA, that concludes 12 years of back audits that had not been done. This final report came in, and it is the final report with a clean finding. So a threshold was reached to clean up, if you will, the back reports, and very proud to admit or to acknowledge them for accomplishing that. In addition, as we move into mid-year for the Communication Center JPA, the budget is balanced. We have about $3 million in the books for future projects. However, my only note of caution is that the trend is a declining balance, and with that, we can fully expect contributions to go up in the future, not to remain stable as they have in the past. With that, a couple of other issues that are going to tie into our budget, and that is authority was granted by the board to do a feasibility study to increase communication and dispatching capability in the South County. Primarily, that's for Isleton and River Delta Fire Districts. There have been some problems with their contract with Solano County, who they are dispatched by. Solano has asked that they be extricated from that. We've been granted now to 2015 to get them out, which gives us time to build a tower. And so that fiscal project will be moving forward rapidly. However, again, it comes at a significant cost to the system as a whole, of which we are by far and away the largest user. In addition to that, the RFP was granted to move forward for the board up, which this board has heard many occasion. We've had an individual come before you and request that occur. The Communication Center JPA had the ability to continue the process and not go back out to RFP. At this board's urging, we did in fact let that RFP this month. And with that, there were a few other personnel movements, primarily just gained around finding some efficiencies within the center. And I apologize for such a lengthy report. It was a very lengthy meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 30th of December. However, I have it on good authority, being the chair, that meeting will be canceled and actually be held in January at a date to be determined. So, any questions that you have? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Moving then to the California Fire and Rescue Training JPA with Director Kelly.
Yes, conveniently, the JPA met earlier this evening, and during that time, officer positions were discussed, and I was fortunate enough to be able to secure the secretary's position once again. That's a joke if you don't understand. There's 3 people on that board. I am the secretary. Chief Ogan from the city is the vice president, and Chief Harris from OES is the chairman. So anyhow, that enough of that. Chief Grijalva doing a wonderful job at the JPA. We received several presentations from him this evening relative to the paramedic program update. We received an update or a presentation on the training needs survey, and also a business plan for the California Rescue or Fire and Rescue Training JPA. So we meet again in February, and I will provide a report at that time.
Thank you. Moving then to the Finance Committee with Director Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met tonight in these quarters, and Ken Compo enlightened and educated us on a number of issues, including one item that is, everyone knows just in your gut, the recovery here has just been slow. Give and take and balancing out a lot of movement, it's about 1% growth in terms of assessment for our property tax revenue. We have about $3.4 million more, but 2+ of that is from reassessments, and those may not remain at that level. So again, slowly, surely but very slowly, the property tax amount is starting to rise, but it's not taken off. Good news is that we did receive in the 13-14 fiscal year $825,000 from the GEMT program. That was approximately $125,000 more than anticipated. So that's the good news. And also, Metro is out ahead with Ken Compo's leadership in terms of developing our capital fire facility development plan. That's going forward. He's engaged industry members in order to gain a fairness and equity in terms of distributing future build-out over the next 20 years in our service area and potential future service areas. So I'd like to thank Ken for that very, very in-depth report, and anyone should feel free to call him up and ask him about any of those questions, any details. Very, very good report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And the Policy Committee with Director Gould.
It appears that we'll have a policy committee meeting on January 22nd, 2015. I have no idea what it's about, but stay tuned.
Thank you. Moving then to board members' questions and comments, and we'll begin with Director Monk.
I just want to start off by saying happy holidays and season's greetings to everybody. Want to congratulate those people that are moving up, those people that are moving out, and people that have benefited from their employment here with us at Sac Metro, and make some comments on the men and women that we have in our stations out there. I've been on more than a few calls in the last month, interacting with these people, and we do have some of the most professional employees that we've hired. And I want to thank them for their service this time of year, and thank those that helped us in our fundraising events for various organizations. We managed to purchase the blanket warmers that I told you about before for the Mather VA Hospital and raise some good money for the veterans and VFW group through our Thanksgiving and Veterans Day events. And I want to thank everybody that helped us on that. That's it.
Thank you. And Director Wood.
Just to follow up on Director Monk's comments, we do have some amazing people. I got the chance to get out to stations 62, 53, and 54 on Thanksgiving, and they were all out there, like you said earlier, all out there working to, giving up their holidays so they can make sure we stayed safe, and they were all very warm, very receptive. And again, thank you for everyone that's out there doing their job. Ken's report, I'm remiss for not making it in time for the Finance Committee, but I did talk to him afterwards. I got the report. It's exciting to see that we're hopefully going to soon be getting resources to get Southeast Rancho Cordova some more resources, whether that's 68 opened or something else that comes from it. But it's good to see that that's on the drawing board. Captain Wegman, again, congratulations to his team. Thank you, Chief, for bringing that up. That's amazing that our people are getting recognized from all these agencies. And again, everyone says it over and over, but Larry, we got boats for free, and that's just amazing. The work you do is wonderful. We look at our charts that Ken and Finance gives us every month, and half the stuff on there, it seems like you're the one doing it. So appreciate all the effort and all the energy you do. And finally, Randy, it's been a pleasure working with you this year and all
Thank you.
you've done for us throughout the year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And so, Director Scheidegger.
Well, I wanted to allocate about an hour to myself to personally thank you for the beacon of leadership that you have been to this board and to this fire district. Wait, I got to get my notes out.
Yeah.
Randy, in all sincerity, you've been fantastic. This has been a difficult year, and without your leadership, I'm not sure we would have weathered it as well as we have. On behalf of all of us, behalf of our citizens, thank you. You've done a great job.
Thank you so much.
And then I'll cut the rest of it out later. But I also want to mention that I went to the single-role paramedic graduation. I think it was on November 6th because it was my anniversary. But anyway, my wife and I had a great time, and it was great to see the new blood coming in and the fine job that Metro did in training these people and getting them ready. I also want to say thanks to a couple of our staff. Chief Clough, that IGT stuff is fantastic. We're so lucky to have you. And on behalf, again, of the people of this district, thank you for your fine work. And it means so much to us in terms of the revenue generation. And again, Larry, as Ted said, thank you for your work on these grants. People need to understand and appreciate that we probably wouldn't have these programs to the extent we do without those grants. Finally, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and be safe out there to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And Director Gould.
Ditto about President Orzali. Ditto about Chief Clough, I think, and his staff. If we think back, what we just heard about this process fundamentally changes the revenue stream for the fire service, not just Metro Fire, but really nationally. And I think sometimes we just don't really grasp very well, maybe as folks up here, the fundamental shift that represents in stabilizing the transportation of sick and injured people by public safety agencies. And I think that maybe when we kind of go back and we have time to think about it, it'll really dawn on us that we're not just talking about one-time things that come and go like they do on this board, but this fundamentally changes the business that we do about 80% of the time. And it's phenomenal. I mean, there's really no other way to put it, that we're really doing some unbelievable work that I believe the rest of the industry benefits from. Welcome to Director Barnes. Merry Christmas, and that's it.
Thank you very much. And so, Director Kelly.
Well, once again, we have people in this room that go above and beyond their call of duty, so to speak, and do wonderful things for this district. This is why I constantly refer to this group as the high-performing team at Metro Fire. And I want to tell you all that I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful holiday. I'd like to extend those wishes to all the men and women of this district. And I hope that all of my directors have a nice Christmas. Director Zolli, it's been a genuine pleasure having you in that chair for the last year. Director Barnes, welcome to the board.
Thank you. And Director Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I would like to, let's see, I did attend a few things. I attended the swearing-in ceremony for our old and new directors, so congratulations to the returning directors and welcome aboard. Mr. Barnes, Jim, thanks very much, and as I've mentioned to you in private, any questions, I'm sure you can talk to anyone up here, to the chief, any senior staff, anyone, and they'll be glad to have dialogue with you. So welcome aboard, welcome aboard. I attended the Dean Baker Memorial Crab Feed, and I'd like to say thank you to everyone who worked so hard to put on that event fundraiser, and especially the kitchen staff worked quite hard and dutifully. So thanks to each and every person who participated to make that a successful event. Went to the 522 open house last night. Very enjoyable. Saw a lot of retirees, swapped stories and told lies, and it was just all in all a nice time. And thank you, Director Ozali, for all your work and your leadership role as board president for 2014.
Thank you. And Director Barnes.
Yes, I want to thank you and for allowing me to be here today. Obviously, this is a memorable moment for me. I do want to apologize. I am fighting a terrible cold, so whoever's hand I've shaken today, please take precautions.
A little late.
But I feel like I'm hearing out of a water tunnel out of my left ear, so I apologize if I talk loud. First night on the board, some of the things I've seen is very innovative ideas. I know in public safety, being from that field, you don't like taking compliments, but you are innovative in the way you think. And your mindset goes light years ahead of other agencies. And I tell you, that puts Metro Fire in a great position to excel and move forward. So thank you for those ideas, reaching out, finding these government programs that give back, not only to the board, 522, but also the community. So I thank you. Echoing all the comments of everybody and the board members, I look forward to meeting every one of you personally. Quite a few of you I've already met. I've met with some of the union members. A lot of the men and women of 522, very impressed. Being in the field of public safety, I believe they're very parallel. And I'll tell you, to have to work during a holiday season when your family is at home is a very difficult thing to do. I understand it. I have done that. So again, I thank you for being out there and protecting our community. Chief Wells, good luck. It's well earned. Everything I hear about you so far has been extraordinary. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. And with regard to Chief Wells, maybe then you and I should talk a little more. With that, we are adjourned. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yay. Holiday season.
Why did it seem like we should clap?
Randy, was there a reason why you didn't give me change for the contribution I made?